All right. Good evening, everybody. I know everybody has been anticipating tonight. Uh, just run through what we're going through here. This is the Mid Ohio Catfishing Podcast. I am your host and also your tournament director, Corey Jeffers. Tonight, we are joined by Run and Gun Catfishing, Julie and Charlie Weatherspoon. Rising sensations on TikTok. Everybody's been messaging me today asking me when this thing was going to start. I have a couple more followers on TikTok, but I don't think mine are as loyal as your guys's.
Oh my gosh. We do have the best crew.
Yeah.
They've I've had several messages today asking me what time this thing was going to start. And we're 15 minutes late, and I think they were ready to grab the pitchforks and flamethrowers and head my way. So, we won't tell everybody that we had to get the filter right for Charlie and everything had to get going for him. That's what took so long. So, why don't you guys start it out here, kind of introduce what you guys are doing, how long you guys been catfishing, talk about your guide service, and then we'll go back and forth. I'm sure we're going to get a bunch of questions. Mike Greenwell's made it in. He says, evening, y'all.
Hold on.
Yeah, we're like I said, we're in a hole, so we're probably lagging out.
Actually, you look perfect on my end, so I don't know how I'm coming through on your end, but you look good on my end.
So we run run a gun guide service. You know, on the weekends I take people out. We fish to Ohio. We got the Ohio, the Cumberland, the Tennessee River, and sometimes we'll travel to the Mississippi if we have to, but most of the time we don't have to. So this water up here, I mean, we can do just about everything as far as dragging, bumping. You know, we anchor sometimes, certain times of the year. You know, I'll go out all through the week just to see what the fish are doing, make sure they're still where they were the weekend before. And if I have to, I'll change it up and go find them. But yeah, it's been an experience. I mean, it's definitely different. I mean, it's not just your weekend. You go out, you fish, you have fun. You know, the pressure's on every single day you go out there. You know, as far as going out, finding fish, figuring out what they're eating, figure out what they're hitting on, where they're at. You know, so there's pressure all the time of finding them and making sure, because I want to put the people that come out and go with me, I want to put them on the biggest fish they've ever seen, you know, and I want to catch the biggest fish I've ever seen, and I hope they do, and I hope they're the ones that reel it in.
Yeah. So for anglers like me and like anglers like Mike and these guys in chat here, we don't really have that pressure of having to catch fish. We still get to enjoy going fishing. So what's the mindset going into go fishing? Like, you know, if you and Julie are just going to have a good time with the kids, or you're going out with a client, how do you juggle the two? And is there a switch? Can you turn that on and off?
I don't have a switch. My switch is 100% every time. Like, so I'll go into, you know, as far like if I go out fun fishing with Julie and the kids, I do the same exact thing I would if I took a client out. You know, my goal is to catch it, you know, it's everybody's goal. What you had the experience to do it recently is to go out and catch a state record. So every time I put the boat in the water, that's my intentions, you know, and it ain't gonna happen every time, but you know, you gotta set. I got high standards, and I keep them that way.
He's always trying to go to the next level. After he left bull riding, he said, "Julie, I feel like I have nothing I'm working toward." And it sat like that for a couple years, where he didn't really have. He was fishing, but he really wasn't. You know, he was getting into tournaments and things like that, but it wasn't a consistent, like always going like we have been over the past couple of years, and he has before I was involved. And so he said, I just feel like I'm not working toward anything. And he actually got back on a bull probably 2 or 3 years ago just to see if he could do it. And then after that, he got really even more serious about fishing. He covered the bull. He got second place. He's like, I could still do it.
But yeah,
so he just put all that into the fishing.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, there is no switch, you know. If I go skipjack fishing, I want to catch more than she does, or I want to catch more than everybody else around me. You know, it's just being competitive. I mean,
Thanks, Billy.
You know, we have fun. I mean, I do, and I will admit and say it that I'm a little serious. I'm a little too serious sometimes, but
You're like in competition
that's
with
just
yourself.
that's just the way I've always been.
Here,
so.
Is that better lighting?
So I'm guessing you took Billy out. He says that you provided a top-notch service for him and his daughter, set their blue cat PBs. You're a professional and a humble guide. The best trip he's ever had with a guide, hand down. And I've heard that. So let me reel back real fast. I'm not gonna lie. 2 weeks ago, I didn't know who you guys were.
Yeah.
All right.
My fishing partner is a big fan of your guys's. He watches a lot of your videos. And when we were in Louisiana, we actually somehow got on the subject of talking about you guys because we were talking about the Kentucky Dam and Kentucky Lake. And he was like, man, he said, these guys fish that area and they catch giants every time they're live. And he turns to me and he goes, why don't you catch giants every time we're fishing? So thanks. I appreciate that. I'm glad you guys were able to set the standard for me.
Oh, that's funny.
But he,
you won. You beat.
But
me.
Once I started following you guys, I mentioned you guys a couple times in one of my lives, and the comments were just one right after another about how great of a guide service you run, how humble you guys are, how great a fisherman you guys are. And I knew right away that I felt like maybe we would click. It seems like we've got a lot of the same aspirations and goals. Mine's not so much on a guide standpoint, but I truly enjoy the education side of catfishing and teaching people how to fish. I'm just the guy that's not smart enough to get paid to do it.
Yeah.
So, when I started hearing all those comments, I told Chris, I said, well, I'm going to reach out to them. I mean, they seem like nice people. I watched a bunch of Julie's videos on TikTok, followed you guys. And then obviously we started talking and linked up. And the first time I jumped in your live, we were on our way back from Louisiana, and Julie didn't skip a beat. Oh, wait a minute. He just caught a state record.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
I'm so sad I was sleeping because several of my friends sent it. The people I've met through TikTok sent your live, and I think I was sleeping or something because it was all in my inbox from several people trying to share your live. But I was sick as a dog, and I was not even worried about TikTok right on New Year's Eve on my birthday. And so I missed it. But I heard about it, and I was like, that's him.
That's it. I was in your live 2 seconds, and she's like, "That's the guy. That's the guy." I heard her over there.
And that's crazy because we just got done talking about it. Like right before you came on our live, we just got done talking about
all about it.
Yeah,
so I was summoned, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So I've heard several stories like Billy's. You know, I've heard that you guys are top-notch fishermen. You guys treat your clients right. And it doesn't sound like you have very many trips you go out and at least don't catch something. But it sounds like everybody catches a big fish.
Yeah, and you know, as a guide, every guide dreads that day that's going to happen, you know. And if you fish long enough, and I don't care if you fish your water that you fish your whole life, that day where you're going to go out and get skunked is going to happen.
That's one thing that makes him nervous.
And that scares me big time to have whenever that day is going to show its face, you know. And but it's fishing, you know. I mean, we've had some bad days with clients, and like I tell them, like, look, you know, if I could go down there and make these fish bite, trust me, I would do it. If there's any other trick I could pull out of my hat, I'd pull it out. But I've tried everything, you know, and and I tell everybody, like, you know, what I do with clients, with my dad, with Julie, is the same thing I do every day across the board. Like, if this ain't working, we're going to go do this. If that ain't working, we're going to do this. And it's the same way I go into a tournament. You know, I got an idea what the fish are doing around my home waters. Maybe it'll be the same. So I go into it just like I'm fishing my home waters, even though might be 10 hours away, you know.
So, funny thing you speak about there on your getting skunked on your home's waters. So, I had this discussion with the guys from Catfish Weekly the first time I was on their show several months ago, and I fished just over 30 tournaments this year all around the country, and I did well in most of them. Almost all of them I brought in my limit, which is if in my opinion, if you can go fish a tournament and bring in a limit on water you don't fish, whether you get first place or not, I feel like you succeeded. The only time I skunked was on the water that I won a nationally televised tournament on. So it seems like it seems like if it's going to happen, it's going to happen at the one that you don't prepare for, which is the one in your backyard.
Yeah.
And So you're right. You know, that fear of being skunked for whatever reason, I never have that fear when I travel. But you wouldn't think I'd have that fear right in my backyard either, but I do. And
Right, because whenever you travel and you go to new waters, you got an excuse.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah, your home
hey,
water.
I've
never been here.
But if you fish your home water and you get skunked, it's like,
I'm guessing that Mike's comments towards you here, I didn't fish any of those. So last year, the Green River tournaments, what changed for you from the first week of KOG to the second week of Joey's tournament?
So I figured, on the green, we're talking a narrow river, and it has more. It's deep and has all kinds of structure. Like I mean, everywhere you go, every bend you go, there's a tree and everything. And so the first week, we went and we set up on some trees, some ledges and stuff. And the only hit we had, the only big takedown we had was in a tree, and we didn't mark. We marked no fish in this tree. No fish. We didn't mark any fish. We just set up on the tree. And so the following weekend, that's all I targeted. I targeted structure, big trees, any wood structure I could find. That's what I targeted, and I went to them, and I didn't even know that stretch of the river. We just bounced around from tree to tree. Whenever I'd find a big tree, I wouldn't even mark fish on it. I'd sit up and fish it, because they were deep down in them trees.
I'm guessing you didn't do so good at the first one and did better at the second one. That's why he's asking.
Yeah, we didn't catch a fish on the first one, and we won the second one.
But the difference with the second one also is that I went and Maddie went, so he did have some good luck on the boat.
Oh, so what he was missing was
easy now. I had Jake.
What I'm gathering is maybe Julie knows how to. Maybe Julie's the better at reading the fish finder of the two, huh?
That's it. I've taught him everything he knew.
She can't even turn it on.
Oh, I don't know. That's a fight you might want to back down from. You're planning a trip on Thursday. Don't make her hold you back.
You better straighten up.
Oh, we're good. I built a nice doghouse out there for me.
There you go.
You did.
So you got somewhere to sleep when you get back.
Yeah.
Mike said on the first week he smacked a big fish, and on the second week only channel cat bites. It's crazy how it changes from week to week, even for people that fish the water and know the water. I mean, the first time I went to Louisiana in October, we caught 152 fish in 2 days. And the first day we caught 123 fish. The second day we caught like 36.
It's so weird how it changes.
It is. It's just crazy.
It's crazy how the bite can fluctuate so fast. Hey, Steve. But so one topic that in a couple questions I got in my inbox, we see this all over the country, more in Alabama than anywhere. People have questions about guides who fish water on a guide trip and then fish it in a tournament, and I see no problem with it. I don't see a problem with it at all. From a guide standpoint, what I don't understand the controversy. Maybe you can shed some light on it, or why people feel a certain way about it.
Like they don't think a guide should be able to fish a tournament in their water.
I don't understand why.
Is that the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I don't either, because that's the thing. They got the same option that I do. They can go out there every day and fish the same water that I fish. They can do the same, So it's really unfair to me personally. I think it's unfair for somebody to say that, because they got they can do the same thing that I can do.
Right.
If they wanted to.
If they wanted to, but so for someone to say that they shouldn't be allowed to fish a tournament in your home water, I don't think it's fair, but that's just my opinion.
See, I feel the same way. I feel like anybody should be able to fish anywhere in the country they want, but I've seen it discussed. I've seen it discussed time and time again. Now, I will say there is one scenario. I don't know you guys well enough to say you wouldn't do it. I don't think you would. There is one scenario that I don't agree with, and that is, say there's a big name tournament trail coming to your water, and one of the top anglers hires you to take him fishing on your water the day of the tournament. I don't think that's right. I know that's happened all around the country. And maybe that's what people are portraying, is that that's not what they want to see.
Well, you might as well take a guided trip like beforehand if you felt like that's necessary, I guess. But really, I mean, people pre-fish and
and that's
do
Right.
all that. Is that going to be banned?
And whenever I fish, so whenever I fish tournament, it's not going to be. It's going to be with friends, family. It's not. I'm not.
For
I'm there
hire,
for
for
fun. I'm not
tournaments.
for hire for a tournament.
Right.
I mean,
That
I
would be
just
the
don't-
only gray area I could see someone stepping into. Would be
Yeah.
in that
I-
situation,
I
And,
would agree with that.
but for people just to raise Cain about people fishing on their home water because they're a guide, I agree with you. You
Right.
got the same opportunities as everybody else.
Right.
If I
Yeah.
wanted to, I could start a guide service, make it my life, and go fish every day. I fish a lot anyways, so I don't see it. Like I said, the only gray area I see is if someone's allowed to hire a guide during a tournament, which in our tournament trail, you're not alled to do that. It's a rule. You can't
Right.
I've never
pay
even
somebody to
thought
put you
that.
on fish.
Exactly. My opinion, and another thing is like if me before I was a guide, before I was anything, like me personally, I want to fish against them guys. Like if I go down to Gunnersville, even though I might not have a chance because they live there, they get to fish there every single day. But if I go down to Gunnersville, all the guides that there, Josh Brown, J.R. Hall, and all the rest of them are the guys I want to fish against because they if you beat them, I mean, you go in their back door and you go in their home water, and that's like somebody comes up here, hey, if I get beat, I just got beat in my home water.
It doesn't feel good,
a few
but
weeks,
it's still,
a few weeks ago. I mean, I'm happy for them. That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's I went down to Wheeler, first time ever being there, placed in the top 10, and I beat a couple of the guides. And that was kind of I also went to the James and beat all of the guides but one. And I was like, I mean, that's kind of cool. If you can go, I feel like I said, if you can go anywhere and catch a limited fish, I think you're doing something good. But it is kind of like a pat on the back if you can beat the local guides.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, that's
awesome.
That's what everybody should want to do. It's the competitive side. That's why you tournament fish to be competitive.
To beat the best of the best,
if that'd be like me going to sixth graders and playing basketball against them, and whenever I win, I'd be, it's just
the competition is the
competition point. Is the whole point of the
tournament.
Fun of
it.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Let's change gears here a little bit. Mike wants to know what your guys' personal best are.
Well, I have almost the smallest of the family, 67 pounds.
I've caught three this summer, 71. One of them was 73, but I don't say that.
You can't because Maddie's is 72.
My daughter is 72, so I got to keep saying
From
71.
the Green River, that trip he was talking about, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll have to repost it.
And my son, his personal best is 49.
Mm-hmm.
And then we caught an 80 was the biggest fish we put on the boat this year. With a client.
Oh, nice.
So I feel like it counts as his,
It's a boat PB if nothing else.
That's what we call it. That's not how we really say
PB.
it, but
Yeah.
And to be honest, when Chris and I caught that fish in Louisiana, we both pretty much counted as our PB. It was a joint effort. It was a team effort. If you guys hear me talk about it at all, it's never I, it's we, because Chris and I did it together. When they interviewed me for the Louisiana Sportsman magazine, I told the guy, I said, if this article doesn't say Corey and Chris caught the fish, don't publish it.
Good for you.
That's all.
So, it was a group effort. It doesn't matter who reels it in. Amber, you give me water.
Yeah.
So, how long have you guys been guides?
We just started this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. May is when I filed for the LLC.
Yeah.
And
so
did all the things.
So it was back in May. And we really didn't. And the crazy thing about it is most of the people that I took out starting out was people that I've offered to take out for free back before I started this whole
He'd post on
thing.
Facebook, does anyone want to go to a tournament or does anyone want to go fishing? He'd go by himself all the time and it worried me. I'd stay up so late worrying because at that time I wasn't going with him like I do now. And mostly because the kids were young, And so I just worry because he'd be by himself, and I'm like, oh my goodness, and wait till he gets back, and at least make sure he's okay, because you just never know. So yeah, he'd go all by himself a lot. We had a couple people. I guess remember Haystack. Shout out to Haystack if he's in here, but he went with you once.
Yeah, he went with me once.
But there was some that he offered, and I think they just were kind of like didn't want to take him up on it because we're not from here, and a lot of people didn't know us very well, and. Yeah. I don't know. And he didn't show anything on Facebook.
Yeah,
he didn't show what he was doing.
All my pictures of fish and stuff, like I never posted them. I never showed anybody.
Did he put it on
Julie, whenever we started guiding and everything started kicking off, and she put her foot in the door, she started looking through my pictures, and she's like, holy cat, like, you've been catching big fish for a couple
I
years.
knew like the big ones, but just not how many,
It's like, I just don't show everybody.
Right.
And then,
we posted pictures of every single fish we caught. It'd get boring on our Facebook pages real quick.
Yeah.
Right. That's it.
I'm not saying I catch big fish as often as you do. Sounds like you catch them way more often than me. But for instance, I haven't fished. The last fish I touched was 118 pounds.
Yeah.
It's been almost a month. So it's hard to go fishing again after that because I know the next fish might only be 5 pounds. It's
right.
For now, I'm still living in the glory of a giant fish. Mike says that river produced some big fish in 2023. Their daughter 72. I personally had a 56, an 80, and a 75, and many others.
Yeah,
I actually watched. Yeah, I watched. I don't know Mike personally. I just learned about him on Facebook, old Bumpin' Mike, and we don't bump up here, so I'm fascinated by watching guys bump. I've never done it before, watching them bump, watching people bump, and watching the rod dang near get ripped out of their hands is kind of one of my favorite things to do. So I for sure tune in anytime he's live and bumping.
Yeah, we love to bump. Yeah, so whenever we caught the 72 at that tournament, we didn't even win big fish in that little.
Really?
Yeah.
93 won it. They just
93 won big fish. Like people underestimate the green,
But we like it.
Most people don't talk about it because we want to try to keep. Sorry if anybody's in here, but we want to try to keep the commercial fishermen their little fingers out of it.
Right.
So yeah, it's
conservation.
It's a super neat river.
It is crazy.
Do you guys do guide trips on the green too?
No, I have. No, we do not. It's
you're like even a secret. Like nobody.
It's just further from us.
Until now.
Yeah. Sorry, Mike.
Sorry, Mike.
But he's
sorry. Now,
Mike.
Everybody's been thinking Mike's been fishing the Ohio River all this time. Mike's going to show up at the boat ramp tomorrow. There'll be 30 people there waiting.
All his videos.
Yeah, we're going Mike.
Ohio River catfishing.
Yeah, now Mike's going to be mad at us. Sorry, Mike.
He's the one who brought it up, though.
But
I guess I'll have to. Mike, for the right amount of money, I'll make his video private.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome to hear. We have a couple small rivers here where you can really get into the flatheads. I've never been a small river fisherman myself. The small rivers here, you're talking 2 foot deep to 8 foot deep. And there's guys that kill giant flatheads in there. I mean, they'll go out there and they'll catch tons of them. And so I haven't really done that much. When I started catfishing, it was on the Ohio River. And I skipped all the local scene. I skipped all the statewide scene. I jumped right into the national trail, and I won the very first tournament I fished on the national trail on TV. So I was at the highest of highs on the very first one, and I felt like I'm never going to go local tournament trails. I'm just going to follow the national trail all around the country. What I didn't realize, that's crazy expensive and almost unimaginable. I made it halfway through the season with sponsors paid my way halfway through the season. I didn't pay for anything. And then I was like, this really isn't working out.
Yeah. Goodness. Have you ever done a national?
I don't think so. I don't think I've ever fished a national.
It's fun. You're fishing against the elite. You're fishing against the best of the best.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, when I went out and won the very first one I won, I'm like, I can go ahead and just throw my name up there with the best of the best.
Yeah.
I won one.
Yeah.
I got humbled the next year.
Oh.
I got humbled quick the next year.
Yeah. Back to that getting skunked in our own water. Stuff changes.
Yeah, exactly. It was that I won that tournament on national TV, went back there for a local event and got skunked. Steve says Louisiana ruined me. And you haven't been there yet, but you're going with me on Thursday. So I'm going to warn you, because Louisiana ruined me too. I like fishing the James. I like fishing at Wheeler. We were thinking about going to the Ice Bowl at Kerr Lake, but I cannot leave Columbus, Ohio, headed to go fishing and not just drive south. I can't. Like, if I start out east, eventually I'm going south. Like, our plan was 100% to go to the James River on that trip that we went down there. And we were getting in the truck and changed our mind to go to Louisiana. We were going to go to the James. We were supposed to go to James this weekend. Changed our mind. We're going to Louisiana next week. And I cannot not go back to Louisiana. And here in Ohio, we've got great fishing. We can catch a bunch of fish, but we have the Sandusky Bay. I don't know if you guys have ever fished the Sandusky Bay for channel cats. I'll tell you right now, there's not a better channel cat fishery in the country. There cannot be, because you can go out there, catch 100 fish, and half of them be 25 pounds or bigger.
Right.
I mean,
awesome.
Giant channel cats. And Louisiana, you go do the same thing, except catch 100 of them, and half of them are 50 pounds.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Ooh, that'll wear you out.
Yeah.
It'll wear you out. My first trip down there, so Steve and I are both on the Toughest Frickin' Rods team, and he went down, and the whole time he's talking to the group, right? He's telling us all about how great the fishing is. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get on his live and watch. And I can't remember what Chris and I were doing. We were together when I turned it on, and I'm watching, and I was like, this is unbelievable. I mean,
was that when he was on the Mississippi that you're talking about?
Yeah.
And that's how I found him and followed him. I'm like, what is going on down there?
Yeah. That's Louisiana.
There was fish everywhere.
Yeah, so I'm watching the same thing. I'm watching him and Fudd.
Let me pack my bags.
And they are completely wore out. Like,
that's crazy.
And I'm like, there's no way. Like, that doesn't really happen. So then I took a guy down, a new cat fisherman, hasn't really been catfishing long. And I'm like, man, he's like, I can't even remember what he said his PB was, 30, 20. I don't remember what it was. He's like, I just want to beat my PB. And I'm like, man, I said, I know you haven't watched the guys that are down here, because by that time, Justin had made it down too. Justin Fricky was down there too. I said, I know you haven't watched the guys that have been down there. I said, but we're going to crush that several times.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, he's kind of like, we'll see.
Sure. Yeah.
And I will tell you what, we got set up. We threw our lines out, and Fricky was set up right before us. You could actually see him in my live. He's about 100 yards behind me, and I went right in front of him. We come around this bend, and I'm not going to say we found the fish. Steve found them. He told us where they were. But we come around this bend in the river, and the second that it dropped off to 80 to 100 feet, the fish finder would look like lasagna, man. It was just from 100 feet deep to 40 feet deep. It was just solid fish.
That's crazy.
I probably would have never fished it, because I see those marks. Like when I'm on the James, I see the same marks, and I'm like, oh, those are gar, or those are whatever, shad, whatever I think they are. But Steve's like, dude, I swear they're catfish. Just throw into them. So we started cutting skipjack, 20-inch skipjack. We just cut the tail off.
Mm-hmm.
And we start throwing these things out. We got 6 of them out there. And Ron's like, well, how fast will it be? And before he could get B out, every single rod at the exact same time, smoke to the water. And I'm like, what do we do? how do you reel in 6 rods?
Where do you start?
Yeah, that's some chaos there.
And that is exactly how it was that entire trip. Several times we went down to one rod and argued who was going to reel the fish in, because you just got wore out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Steve said you wouldn't think it was catfish because there were so many. Millions and millions. For 2 miles of the river, you could just drive and the marks never stopped. It was solid 50 feet of fish from 40, 50 feet down to 100, and it never went away. But I'll tell you, when you got out of them, when you went that mile and a half and you got out of them, you didn't mark a single fish. They were literally just in these as wide as the river and 2 miles long. It was just a solid bed of catfish.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
It was. I will for sure make another trip there in October. I'm thinking that October, because when we went down there this last weekend, we started there where we caught all those fish, and they were not there. The fish weren't there. I was marking stuff, but they weren't catfish. Couldn't get anything to bite. We ended up finding them way down south, which is where we'll start next week. Yeah. Mike wants to know if you guys are fishing the 2024. Is that the King of the Green? Is that what that is?
Yeah, King of the Green. No, we'll be in Louisiana that weekend.
Oh, that's that.
Yeah.
He wanted to go.
I had plans on going, but as soon as you mentioned, hey, you want to go to Louisiana, I'm like, yep. So,
well, sorry, Mike. Well, Mike, now they're not there, so sneak into his holes. Sure, he's sitting out there fishing.
Find those trees. Mike's got some good areas.
Yeah, Mike's got better. He's got better holes than I do.
Yeah.
He lives closer than I do. to the green.
Well, it says he's starting to get jealous. I will tell anybody until I am blue in the face, no matter how many people ask, if you're going to take a catfishing trip, take it to Louisiana. I mean, it is. I have fished all over I've fished all over east of the Mississippi, and there's nothing like Mississippi River fishing in Louisiana. There's just nothing like it.
That sounds like a blast. I'm super jealous. I think you guys are going to have a great time. And like I said, I didn't know that they were down in Louisiana. I just thought they were like in Mississippi somewhere, which I don't know where the river actually goes, but they were tearing them up. So I hope you guys do too.
Yeah, I mean, where we're going, I don't expect that we'll catch them that fast. But when we were down there, we found bigger fish. So, I mean, obviously we found state records. So
yeah.
I'm hoping one of us can find another 100-pounder. That'd be kind of cool.
That would be insane. That's his biggest goal. That's what he goes out for every day. Like, yes, breaking the state record would be amazing. It's 106.9, I'm pretty sure, in Kentucky. But he's just, that triple digit is what he just strives for every time he goes out there. And unfortunately, everyone thinks I lost one. So I get a lot of
somebody commented about that.
Yeah.
Let's see. What did they say?
I can't.
I saw it. Ask Julie. They said, ask Julie about that state record she thought she lost. I can't remember who said that.
Probably Wyatt.
I'm going to say Wyatt, maybe Billy. I knew it.
Wyatt.
I knew it. That's why I called you out in stories.
So we was fishing Kentucky Dam, because this time of year, I mean, it's neither going to be fire or it's going to be dead.
And we've had both.
Yeah. So we went in there and we had one rod go down, and she was fighting it. And while she was fighting it, I was about ready to dip in it, and another rod went down. Well, I just reeled down on it, and we put the first one in a boat, and it was a 56.
Yeah.
We put that one in the boat. He was 56. Well, I was getting the hook out of it, and I told Joyce, well, reel in that second one. And she goes and she started reeling that one in. And while she's reeling that one in, I had a third rod go down. And whenever I reeled down on this fish, I thought, that's a dink. I guess he was running straight to me. But I reeled down on him, and I thought, he ain't that big. So I let her just fight the one we had hooked on the other one. So we finally get it in. And that fish there was 60. So I got the 56 in the boat, the 60 in the bottom of the boat, and I'm trying to get the hooks out of them, and I was going to put them in a live well. And
I was going to try and move that fish over to the same side I was on, because it didn't feel like, again, it was probably coming toward us, and it didn't feel heavy. So I was like, I'll just take him over this way, because I knew the camera was facing that way, right? We're on live, so what everybody see. And I'm like, well, it's not cooperating. So I was like, okay. So I started reeling in, and I go to move. And I'm not good at moving poles over the pole in my hand, so I hand it to myself around, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
That's terrible.
I was holding on really tight. I'm like, this is really feeling heavy. So when I got it to my hip, he's holding the 60 or 56 up in front of the camera. I'm like, oh my gosh, Charlie. It's pinching the skin in my thigh. I put it right in my hip, It was pinching, lifting, the rod handle was. And I'm like, look at this rod. And he didn't know what the heck I was doing. I just had two big fish, and I've never.
Yeah, I thought she was just fussing for no reason, because I'm trying to get these fish all in the live well, get live well filled up. And I'm like, what in the world? So finally I put the one fish in there, and I get the other fish, and I look up, and I'm like, holy cow, what in the world do you got?
The full video's on our YouTube, y'all, so you'll have to check that out.
Because we use Catch the Fever Hellcats, and we use heavies. And this pole is bending clear at the handle. And I'm like, holy cow. So I get up there.
I'm just two-handed it. I'm not even trying to do anything. I'm just holding on.
So I get up there, and I pulled a drag. Drag was fine. Well, I'm like, I'm going to loosen it up anyways. Just let her fight this one out. Because I was going to go after him. Because we caught the 80, and he didn't make the rod bend as much as this one did. And you could see he just slowly going down river. I was like, holy cow. I was like, please do not lose this fish. And I get turned around, all of a sudden she says, oh no, and I done knew what happened.
Oh.
She's like, I felt it rip out of his mouth.
I did. I was so sad.
I said, oh my goodness, I gotta go over here and sit down. It's like, let's just not talk to each other for a minute.
It was really bad, and my little voice is quivering, as I'm talking. I was like, I don't know what I could have done, trying not to cry because I just felt horrible. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'd say it was the biggest fish I've had hooked all year.
That was.
I will tell you, Julie, you're not alone. So right before I caught that big fish, I 28 minutes and broke off on it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I've never in my life fought a catfish for more than 10 minutes.
Right.
And this fish hit my rod, swam upriver, and I was on the front of the boat messing with the pelicans. You'll learn about the pelicans. They'll climb on your boat and eat your bait.
Oh, they're like actual pelicans. That's crazy.
Actual pelicans. I'm up there trying to get the pelicans off the boat, and I look back, and my line was tight because we were fishing slack tide. That's another thing in Louisiana. It's tidal when you get down that far. So the current change on you out of nowhere. We were in the middle of a slack tide, and so we anchored up, and we were in one of the canals off the Mississippi, and we were casted away from the Mississippi River. And I look up, and my line is swimming back to the Mississippi River. And I'm like, oh, Chris, there's a fish on there. So I run back there, and I reel down on him, and I'm like, oh, he don't feel that bad. Well, right when I said that, this dude kicked it in hyperdrive. And
it's so deceiving sometimes.
Oh, so I use toughest freaking rods, and I had an extra medium heavy, which is pretty much a heavy. And I'm holding this thing, like she said, I've got one hand on the reel. I'm not reeling yet, and I'm holding it right above the reel. And this fish has this rod bent clear down to my hand, like you said. And I'm like, I look over and I'm like, Chris,
and wait for something.
Yeah, I'm like, Chris, I can't do anything with this fish, and we're anchored, so I don't have the option to chase him.
Right.
And I'm like, I physically can't do anything with him. So I loosen my drag. I make sure my drag's good, and I fight him. And like I said, we fought him for the better part of 25, 28, 30 minutes. And finally, I feel him give up. I'm like, dude, get the net. I said, if this fish comes up, I said, I don't know what it is. I said, but this fish is for sure breaking my PB. At the time, my PB was 72 pounds. So it finally gives up, and I crank on it. It's coming up quick. I'm like, oh, finally, it's going to come top of the water. It dives again and swims straight under the boat. So now I'm holding the rod out, begging this thing not to rub the boat. Because we all know what happens when that happens.
Yeah.
So I'm holding the rod out, and I'm like, Chris, he's under the boat. He's going to get in the anchor line, So I'm forcing him away from the anchor line now because he's swimming right at it. He comes away from the anchor line. I'm like, all right, we're good. Gives up again, floats up. We hear fish hit the bottom of the boat, line snaps. Never even saw it.
That's what sucks. It's like I didn't even get to see a little glimpse, nothing. It just was like instant heartbreak.
Oh yeah.
Here's your hook back. Thanks. It was fun. See you later, lady. Like.
Oh yeah, that's how I felt. And then it was. I'm kind of just looking at Chris, and he's looking at me, and I'm like, dude, I gotta sit down. Same thing you said. I gotta sit down. Rods are a mess. There's stuff all over the boat, and I'm like, I said, listen, I gotta take a break. And he's like, you gonna be all right? And I'm like, no.
That was horrible. I'm
unwell right now. 20 minutes. No, I'm not gonna be okay.
Oh yeah, that'd be the longest I've ever fought a fish.
Yeah, mine did not last near that long at all. But
yeah, and that's and I was thinking in my head, like, what could it be? Could it be a bull shark? Maybe. That's what I'm thinking while I'm reeling this thing in. Could it be a bull shark? I mean, we're 4 miles from the ocean, so it could be anything. And then when it got under the boat, I felt it start rolling, and I'm like, it's a catfish. 100%, it's a catfish. It's all tangled up in the line. I said, get ready, here he comes, and he come up, and we just heard thump, and I'm like. Chris like, what was that? I said, dude, he just hit the bottom of the boat. And it was, I'm like, oh. He's like, what? I said, dude, I think I just broke off. And I didn't.
Punch.
It was a gut punch.
Yeah,
That's what Billy says. Gut wrenching.
Yeah.
It was tough. Let's catch up on the questions here. I saw Mike said that since he's leaving, you at home, you and him go fish King of the Green and win.
Yeah, let's do it.
Wyatt says maybe you guys can take a trip next year if he survives his next trip in June with you. A man wants to know, he wants to know if you guys are in Morgantown, Kentucky.
No, we're in Marion, Kentucky.
Okay.
Real west, under Illinois.
Yeah, we're about 60 miles east of Paducah.
Steve says that you guys should take a trip to Louisiana with him next year for a crazy weekend. As long as I'm included in that trip, I'm down.
Yes, that sounds like a blast.
We're down.
So
that's
Steve,
something
him and I
be able to do is travel more fishing, or at least let him, because we have kids and stuff, but have him travel more to do fishing, and if I can go sometimes, that'd be cool. But yeah.
Well, I'm glad. I like that. We can make that happen.
I can host your lives. I'll be the host when I show up.
There you go. We'll put you in the box.
There you go.
Probably want to host Steve's live. I could probably be fishing right next to the guy. He'd outfish me 10-1. I'm just on TikTok selling rods. He's on TikTok catching fish. Together, we work together. Great. He shows that the rods work, and I'm a really good job at selling them.
There you go. Teamwork.
Steve, we're actually headed down there this coming Thursday, and Charlie is going with us. That's what we've been talking about. I don't know if you caught that earlier. So, Eric Jacobs. When I told Eric when I was talking about fighting that fish, Eric Jacobs says it was a sea turtle. I don't know if you guys caught that in my video or not. When it popped up
I did. I remember that.
Popped at the top of the water. What is that? A sea turtle?
Yes, she said.
So one thing Chris and I got to work on is we get really excited and our filter goes right out the window. So that's one thing we're trying to do. We're trying to reel it back to be a little more family oriented. But
I talked about that today. Did you see my story? Just about why that's just who we normally are anyway. And I just like to put that disclaimer out while we're on live because you know how fast people hop in and out of lives. And I just like people to know that for the most part, you're not going to hear anything too crazy just because we are big, thing that we hope to accomplish is to encourage more kids and families to go out fishing. That's kind of my little personal mission that I don't really talk about much, but that's the main reason. He took out our son's friends that are interested in fishing, and he's 12. Well, he's almost 12. He thinks he's 12, but he's 11, and he took out their friends because they've been interested in asking questions, and they caught their personal best and stuff like that. And it's just something that's the future of fishing, you guys, and that's why my personal goal is to be as family friendly so that when you flip up on our lives, if you have your kids, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, whatever around you, you don't have to worry this is an adult app. Most of the app, they're adult apps, but let's be honest, kids are on them a lot. So, that's kind of why, and that's just who we normally are anyway. Of course, behind closed doors, just me and him, I'll vent and he'll vent, things like that. But, day to day around the family, that this is just who we are.
The worst thing I did was I was out by myself and I lost. I had 3 break-offs. So, and I'm telling you, my blood was boiling.
And it showed. He pitched a fit.
Yeah, you can't see it on live, and you couldn't see it on live. But whenever the third one broke off, I kind of flipped the pole down, and the pole hit the multi-bar and snapped the tip of the pole.
But you couldn't really tell on the live. Once I was editing, I could, but on the live, you really couldn't tell. Because it wasn't no easy, dang it. No, it was took it out on that pole, and it was not even the rod's fault. It was his for not re-spooling.
Yeah, I didn't. I went out the day before that and didn't retie all my rigs, just being lazy. Because I thought, man, it's just me going out, Well, I paid for it. Sure I had a chain swivel broke, which I don't use that brand no more. I had 80-pound leader line break, and I had my main line broke.
All because
it wasn't like I could pinpoint one thing. I had 3 different things happen to me.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, it's when I broke off, we had ended our live because my phone died. So when I broke off, we have colorful language anyways, and I promise we're really trying to work on that. But when I broke off, I said some stuff that I'm not proud of. I guarantee. I don't even know what all I said, but same with you. I actually wrapped my pole around the rod holder because I swung it so hard. I threw it up in front of the boat. Thought I broke it. I didn't. Crazy enough, I didn't break it, but I slammed that sucker down on the front of the boat. And Chris is like, "It's all right, man. It's all right." And I said, "Dude, just stop. I need to sit down for a second."
Yes,
he was heartbroken too. I mean, we were heartbroken. He's just trying to be the nice guy.
With his words, I was pretty surprised. And when we put somebody actually did comment on it and said, "Wow, he handled that better than I would have," because he knew everybody was watching. And yeah, he kind of pitched a fit, but he didn't go crazy with his words. He just kind of shut down, sat on the back of the boat, just But
if you could read my mind, yeah, I'd have been the same thing you.
Yeah, I felt so bad for him.
Nobody would have been happy with my language if they could have read my mind.
So it was crazy though. I don't know how much you guys saw of the story with the Catfish Weekly, but after that happened, I looked over at Chris and I'm like, dude, this has been the worst trip, because it was. I mean, we ran out of gas. We ran out of diesel on the way down because I wasn't paying attention while driving. Ran out of gas in the boat on the second day. Had no
Oh
bait
my
on the first
gosh.
day. We had no bait at all on the first day. We resorted to chicken and pork loins, which on the second day, pork loin caught 40 fish, so it didn't matter.
Oh, who knew?
We struggled for bait the entire time we were there until we got down south and found them. I mean, it was just, if it could go wrong, it went wrong on that trip. And I just looked over and I said, dude, something's got to give. And I said a little prayer. I was like, God, just give us a fish to remember this trip, please. Like,
Please.
just give us one fish to remember this trip. And I'm thinking, Chris just wants to break his personal best of 50 pounds. That's all I want. I just want Chris to break his PB.
Yeah.
And he delivered. He delivered.
A
I'll
little
remember that
stubborn.
trip.
And
A
that's
long
what's
time.
crazy. And you can ask most people that go out with me, like clients and stuff. Like, if I start out the morning and everything goes wrong, like a backlash, get all kinds of tangles up, I'm like, man, it's gonna be a good day. I said, we're gonna catch a lot of fish. I said, just be ready. I said, we'll get everything worked out, but it's gonna be a good day after I get everything straightened out here. And usually it pans out pretty good. The days and the weeks that are just chaos and nothing's going your way, the wind's blowing wrong, no current, usually the good Lord, he's going to provide. Like, if you're willing to stick it out and tough through it and learn stuff, it'll, he usually pans it out and makes it all worthwhile.
Oh, he's had many blessings for me this year, not only in fishing, my life in general. So you're absolutely right. Be obedient and follow the Lord, and good things come to you. So Nathan Williams says that Empire, Louisiana has a fish factory. They discharge menhaden oil into the river starting in April, and it's a trophy blue cat magnet. I love Southern Louisiana redfish red blast too. Just so happens to be that's where we launched from, and we caught that fish.
Oh, well, there you go.
That's awesome.
We ended up going a little closer to the ocean than that, but the marina we launched at was in Empire. It was Louisiana is just such a special place, and you'll see when you get there. I hope the fishing is as good when we go as it has been, so you don't think I'm crazy. But
Hey, it's fishing.
I now would not be surprised if one of us catch a 100-pound fish. I always thought that was a fairy tale until it happened.
That's what he was saying when you got up.
And I truly believe that I broke off on one bigger. I really do. I think I hooked two 100-pound fish that night.
That's crazy.
And I just have to think, if I hook two 100-pound fish, there's half a dozen more, right? Got to be.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
So it is a very special place.
All right.
So let's kind of get back on you guys. This kind of went back and forth here, but what made you want to become a catfish guide?
So, like, I enjoy watching people reel in big fish. I enjoy just seeing their excitement whenever that big fish comes up to the top of water and he makes that final dive, and their face and their expression. And I just love it. I love watching people catch big fish and enjoy what I do. Because there's some people that ain't as fortunate as I am to have a boat, have the time, have the job, and ability to go out and catch trophy catfish. So I really enjoy being able to go out and put people that ain't as fortunate as I am, put them on a fish of a lifetime.
That's awesome.
So,
I started my TikTok channel 3 years ago, and in the first couple of years, it blew up really big. And then I went through some personal stuff, so I stepped away from TikTok for a little bit, and I came back. And while I was going through my personal stuff, you wouldn't believe how many messages I had. Man, just become a guide. How can we help? We'll come fish with you. And if I posted on TikTok today that I started a guide service, for the first 6 months, I guarantee I'd be slammed. And for whatever reason, I took the online class. I got the stuff. I can take the test. I have the packet. For whatever reason, I just don't want to. I don't want to make it a job.
That's what I asked him in the beginning.
Right.
I said, are you sure that's what you want to do? Because are you afraid it's going to become like work to the point that it's not something you love anymore? And he didn't think that it would. And I mean, this year he was steady. He had steady, clientele. I don't know how else to say it, or clients coming in. And that was when all I was using was Facebook and Instagram. I never wanted a TikTok at all. just because I didn't want another app to keep up with in my life in general before any of this. But a friend on Instagram saw that like I was putting out quality content, the views are there, but the following wasn't coming from the views. I've had way better view level and engagement level when I was consistent on Instagram than I really do from TikTok. However, TikTok provides the following and, you know, the engagement is steady enough, whatever. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is like he was still getting steady clientele. So, you know, we kind of talked about it. Like, what is next summer going to look like year 2 with our name out there? We've met clients that turned friends through TikTok already and Instagram. And so, you know, the more people we meet, we're getting clientele booked for, you know, 2024 season. And so we've kind of like discussed how we're going to balance that. And so, you know, I don't know what that's going to look like because he's not going to be going live with clients unless for some reason they want that, you know, because there are people that want to book with him and go with him that are also TikTokers as well. So, you know, that would be fine. But for the most part, I don't know what next year's going to look like with that, which I did wait my turn. I'd stand out at the boat ramp waiting as soon as he got done to go out so I could film my content and we'd, you know, have things to post all last year. We just weren't able to go live at that time. So.
And that's the thing, like the days that I'm not guiding and don't have clients, I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm out there fishing.
His dad and I spent many hours waiting for our turn because clients would want to stay out longer and stuff. So we just sit out there waiting at the parking lot in the heat of the summer waiting our turn. And now his dad has a boat, so we can go out instead of waiting. It's good times.
but yeah,
I watch it. Her and your dad gonna start a guide service and fish right beside you.
Yeah. I'm already gonna get a kayak. Who was it? I don't remember who I was talking to, but I was like, "Girl, you can jump on with me, and we'll just go kayaking down the river, trying to catch a fish."
Yeah, Chris said something about this. So my partner Chris, I don't know if I introduced him. When I keep saying Chris, you're probably wondering who I'm talking about. Fish on 35 on TikTok. He comments on all your guys' stuff. He fanboys you guys, just so you know. Like he's like, "Can you give me a hat?" He's gonna ask you for a hat in Louisiana, just so you know. He kayak fishes. That's what he does. He kayak catfishes. That's how I met him.
The whole time. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Can you hear? Where did I stop? What didn't you hear? What'd you last thing you heard?
Okay, my buddy Chris. I don't know if I told you about him yet, and then it was like.
So my buddy Chris, I keep mentioning him. That's my boat partner.
Yeah.
He follows you guys on TikTok. Fish on 35 is his TikTok handle. He comments on all your guys' stuff. He fanboys you guys. That's what he does. He's gonna ask you for a hat in Louisiana, but I hate to tell you, he wants Julie to sign it.
Oh my gosh. Are you sure?
Yeah, I figured that was gonna happen a lot.
Oh my gosh. Somebody did ask me to like sign something for them at CatCon. I'm like, you guys are so funny, but I mean, if you really want me to depreciate the value of something, I will sign it.
So, but he kayak catfishes. That's how I met him.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
So, and he fishes the national trail there. He's a very decorated kayak catfisherman. He's won several tournaments, especially here locally. I mean, the guy puts his all into it, and that's why we became partners on the boat. You know, it's I was new to dragging, he was new to dragging because I anchor fished. That's how I fished the national trail. I never drug at all, and so we were able to put our minds together and figure out this dragon thing, and had a heck of a season doing it. Had several wins. But yeah, I heard you mention kayaking, and that's.
Is your tablet? No.
Why it says I fanboy too. Don't feel bad, Chris.
Let me go check. Hold on.
I think we're lagging again. I don't know if it's us.
You guys haven't cut out at all on me. You guys have been steady the whole time. No.
All right.
Back?
Are we back?
We haven't lost you at one time. We can always see you and hear you. You must just be losing me.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Then we'll just keep talking.
And you just keep talking.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, he kayak catfishes, and I know that Julie had mentioned kayak catfishing one time, and he's like, I'm gonna go down there. I'm gonna take my extra kayaks down there, and we'll just go catch them in Kentucky Dam. I think that's crazy. No way I'm sitting at the bottom of a dam in a kayak, but
Right. It's really not. I mean, during the summertime, whenever the gates ain't open just to hydros, it's not bad at all.
really.
I mean, yeah. And that's like up home where I grew up at. up around on like Milldall Dam, Greenup Dam, and all them, you're not allowed close to them.
Right. You can't get 300 feet of them.
Yeah, these dams down here. I mean, there's guys that go up into the hydros, the little squares. They'll drive their boat in there and tie off up in there. Now, me, no, I'm not doing that. You know, I'll get close to the dam.
Not.
I'll get close.
What happens
to the
when
dam
they just mysteriously open the gates and you're sitting there?
That's it. You know, I mean, it's crazy, like the different rules that they have. You know, I mean, we'll go up there and we'll drag across the front of the dam and stuff like that. But, you know, these guys are just, they'll go up in them little holes and I'm like, I ain't that mad at them.
I watched striper fishermen do that on Pickwick, below Pickwick. They go all the way up into them squares and then they turn their motor off and let the current push them while their bottom bouncing for stripers. And I'm like, I'm not getting that close to the dam in my boat. Right. And I'm from Ohio, so I fish Metal and all that. You know, we can't get within 300 feet of it anyway. So they know that there's people that make not wise decisions. So they saved them from getting drowned.
Yeah, making them decisions.
Yeah.
So,
for those of you guys that are in here that don't know, we have a giant tournament coming up in Gallipolis. We're gonna cap that tournament at 200 boats. Charlie and Julie actually just signed up to fish it. They're going to drive up here for that event on April 6th. Have you guys done much fishing on that side of the Ohio River?
Nope. I've been from, let's say, Milldall to Greenup. That's about it.
Oh,
I haven't even fished Greenup pool or up by Greenup Dam that much. I mean, it's basically been
Skipjack. That's the only time I go there.
Yeah, it's basically been like Brown County, Ohio, Brown County, and Adams County. That's about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I grew up in Brown County, Ohio, so I was familiar with that area. But up in there, I have no idea.
I've never fished. See, I've never fished above Metal at all. Mm-hmm. So I fished Cincinnati to Rising Sun, but I've never been anywhere between there. Ask Charlie about catching skips and 4-foot rollers with the gates open on the Cumberland River.
Huh. Yeah, we did that before the MRM.
Really?
It was crazy. I'm talking crazy.
Were they biting though?
So whenever your sabiki rig would like come up and you would see it go through the waves, them skipjack were coming up and hitting it in the air. Like that's crazy. It was insane. And
top water skipjack bite.
We was definitely in 4-foot rollers. And Richard, I was like, man, because I mean, we just met, and I was like, man, this guy's crazy. I mean, I'm a crazy boy from Kentucky now, but this guy's crazy. But we got the bait and we went fishing. So
that's all that matters. I mean, that's number one game in this is getting bait. That's what people don't understand. You know, bass fishermen are great at catching bass. Crappie fishermen are great at catching crappie. Cat fishermen are great at catching bait, which is all of the above.
Right.
Yeah.
We got to go fish for your fish in order to fish for our fish.
Yeah, your fish are bait.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, so, like guiding and guides, you know, and people's going to do it. I get it. Like, people argue about the price. And the thing about it is
not
like,
lot,
but not a lot.
We haven't had a lot of that.
But a couple. But the thing about it is, like, me,
like
us cat fishermen that actually do it constantly, understand that it's not just going out and fishing for catfish. You know, there's a lot that leads up to all this. You know, the catching bait, which I got a amazing bait guy down here. So I don't have to do that much.
We've had a couple good ones.
You know, it's not like bass tournaments where you tie on a lure and you're set, you're ready to go. You know, for cat fishermen, like tournament guiding and just your weekend warriors. You know, there's a lot that goes into it.
Either a lot of time or you have to pay to get the bait. You know, and it's whatever the person's selling it priced at. You know,
I'll take this deal any day of the week.
Wow, where are you at?
Yeah. that's where I'm at.
What's your number?
I'll take that deal any day.
Where are you? Here, I'll pull you up on Facebook.
Yeah.
Slide into the DMs.
All of a sudden, the guys in Alabama just put a hit out on that dude.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Dude, you better be ready for your phone to blow up.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like my bait guys around here, like there's certain times of year it's hard to catch skipjack, and everybody knows it. Every catfisherman know what time of year I'm talking about. But they get on them. Like they catch them at night. I've never heard of catching skipjack at night until I met this guy.
Really?
It's just, it's crazy.
Ryan Bortz gets on them down there in Kentucky somewhere. He told me, I can't remember where he said he was, but what's nice is your guys' limit in Kentucky is 500 a person.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had a spot in Kentucky to catch him because I surely would. But it sounds like I'll just meet Jeremy halfway between Columbus, Ohio, and Clarksville, Tennessee, and buy all the skipjack he's got.
Clarksville's just down the road.
Right down the road from us.
Oh, really?
So yeah, we'll meet you soon.
But Tennessee though, I mean, Jeremy, you might be able to correct me if I'm wrong, but their limit's 100
per person, 200 in possession.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, I went down there last year and we had 4 people down there fishing, and we caught 600. And we got checked at the ramp, and he asked, "Are all 4 of you guys traveling back to Ohio?" You know, it was, and I was like, "Yeah, we are." He said, "I'll get 2 other guys and have 300 skipjack." Are you paying for the ones we're taking to Louisiana? Because if you are, I say we get them from this cat.
No, I'm catching them.
Oh, you're catching them?
Yeah.
But if you need us to do a pickup,
I'm in the same boat. Where's Chris? I know he's in here. Chris, you got time to run to Clarksville real quick?
Yeah. But hey, where I'm going,
Jeremy, I'm not kidding, Jeremy. Shoot me a message because I'm always looking to buy bait on my way to Louisiana.
Hey,
we have a good bait guy. Be the bait guy. You guys look him up on TikTok.
Jeremy is probably going to be. He'll probably be catching bait the same place I am if he lives in Clarksville.
Pretty easy. Pretty easy to get there.
I'll probably see him there. So.
But don't forget, Be the bait guy. He is a friend of ours that.
Yeah, we met through TikTok, and man, he has supplied. He's took care of me.
I told him, you got to change your name. His name was
a couple people on TikTok. Like I met fishing with Big Mike. I don't know if he's on your guys' channel or not.
It's hard to remember everybody.
He's I bought bait from him down when I was in Chickamauga. I bought bait from him. You know, it's nice to know bait guys all over the country for sure.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
Because like when I go to Louisiana, I could very well stop in Alabama and catch my own bait. It's a 16-hour drive for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to stop in Alabama and catch bait. I want to stop in Alabama and buy bait.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they're getting so expensive, man. Some guys are $5 a fish.
That's it. Yeah.
And I was told like Louisville and like bigger areas is even worse.
Up here, they're selling for $7 to $9 a fish.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna get my.
I'm not gonna lie. When we went down to Alabama for our trip down there in April, and we caught those 600 skipjack, I brought them back here and sold them to bait shops. I hold a bait dealer's license, so I mean they were paying $4 a fish up here the bait shops were paying me $4 a fish.
Yeah.
Right. We brought back 600. I made a quick $2,800. I paid for the trip, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then there's some guys out there that didn't like that I did that, but we were within our limits. It's skipjack.
I mean, yeah.
I went down and caught 600 one time. Those guys that do it every day, how many do they take a year?
Right.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Louisville, some places are getting $8 to $12. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, I saw them for $7. I think I saw one place here in Ohio that had them for $10, but that's just insane to me.
That is a lot.
And I'm not gonna lie, I bought my bait dealer's license while I was in Tennessee. When I realized it was my first time ever going there. When I realized how easy they were to catch, and a guy had already called me and said, "Hey, I'll buy all you can catch." And I looked it up. I'm like, "Well, we're allowed to bring back 600." And he was like, "I'll buy them." And I'm like, "Sounds good." So we loaded up the coolers, and what you don't realize is the weight of that many skipjack. We were in a Chevy 2500, and the bumper was dragging the ground. I mean, that was a lot of weight back there.
That's a lot.
When we went to Louisiana the first time, I bought 100 skipjack on the way down. Justin Fricky gave me another 200 skipjack, and we ran out.
Oh, man. I don't know if I can catch that many.
Where's Jeremy at?
I'm only allowed to have 200.
Now, I will say, I don't anticipate it being like that this year, and I'm still going to catch some white trout as well. That's what we caught our big one on. But it was pretty crazy. Like, that first, we caught one. We took a piece of bread, put it on a hook, caught it, and caught a 40-pound fish on it. They would have bit anything that went in the water that day.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
It's Louisiana is something special. It's one of the most magical places that I've ever
Like
fished.
Walt Disney World.
So you're saying like because right now I'm ready to go to Gunnersville. Like Gunnersville's my spot.
He won't stop talking about
now
it.
after this, you're gonna say Louisiana it'll switch.
Now, like I said, this time of year you don't get into them as heavy as I did in the fall.
Right.
But could you go down there and catch multiple fish over 50 on this trip? I think that's feasible.
Yeah.
I think between the two of us, I think 10 fish over 50 is feasible.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean it's
You
now.
better get good content. That's all I gotta say.
Obviously, I can't control what the fish are going to do. We only had one crazy phenomenal day when we were down there this last time.
Oh yeah. Well, that's anywhere you go.
And it was, but every time I've been there, we've at least, I mean, the first time I was there, it was nonstop, daylight, dark. I will say this last trip, the night fishing was better than the day fishing. The second day, the first night, we didn't really do any night fishing. The second night, we fished till 3 a.m. That was when we caught 43 fish. And then we caught our big one and broke off on that big one at night too. So my plans are we're going to leave here Thursday night. We'll probably get down there around noon on Friday, check into the Airbnb, and then maybe get a couple hours of sleep. And I'm going to fish that whole first night. And then I'm going to get up a couple hours before dark, and I'm going to go catch some white trout just to have it because that's what we used last time, and it worked. Yeah. I'm not going to buy any pork loin this time. Although TikTok Live loved hearing that we were using pork loin.
I'm sure.
I know. They won down here earlier this summer. They were blowing me up about using chicken.
Do you guys use chicken? Do you guys use chicken?
I mean, blowing me up about using chicken.
Oh, yeah, which they do me too. And we did. We used chicken. We couldn't find any bait. We had to buy something.
I hear
you like coffee chicken.
The first fish was on chicken.
Yeah, Labor Day, I told Julie, because we spent all weekend out there. Told Julie, I was like, just
get some chicken.
Get some chicken. I'm tired of hearing about it. I'll put it on one pole.
And
I'd be darned if that wasn't the first pole that got slammed. And we caught the biggest fish we caught all weekend.
On plain chicken.
I'm like,
from what I hear by reading these comments, it looks like you like coffee chicken.
No.
Wyatt.
No. Julie made some and it's sat in the cooler all weekend.
And then he threw it away.
And then I threw it away.
The guy that I took to Rising Sun with me last year brought some garlic cherry chicken or grape chicken. It was the nastiest, foulest smelling thing. Every time we opened the cooler, I wanted to puke over the side of the boat. And we got it handed to us at Rising Sun last year. I mean, we didn't catch any fish on the first day. And we caught a good bag the second day. If we could have caught a good bag on the first day, we'd have been fine. But I was already down and out because we weren't catching any fish, and then I had to smell that nasty chicken every time he opened the cooler, man. Finally, when he wasn't looking, I dumped it off the side of the boat. Not like we caught anything. We didn't catch a single fish on it all weekend.
Yeah, what did we catch the first day? We caught like 30. We got like 32 fish the first day and then 28 the second day at Rising Sun.
Rising Sun?
Yeah.
Good for you guys, because I got waxed. And that's my favorite pool of the river.
Yeah, last year we ended up winning 7th, which out of 184 boats wasn't bad.
That's pretty good. Where'd you guys fish? Did you guys lock through or did you stay in that pool?
We stayed in that pool.
Because the week before Rising Sun, I fished my favorite spot on that stretch of the river. And in one night, we caught a 54 or 56, a 48, 2 in the 30s, and 6 over 20. And I was like, we're good, dude. I said, we're going to come back here in Rising Sun and wax them. Went back at Rising Sun, lost my anchor, broke the trolling motor, and didn't catch a fish.
Oh, that's not.
And it was a 54-minute run from Rising Sun.
You said never again for the coffee chicken.
Yeah. But yeah, we was on the fish. The first day I think we had like, what was that? 12 to 15 ervers. And then the second day I could not pay for an erver. I think we caught 1 erver.
Oh yeah, he was mad. And he was running low on bait too. I'm like, can I bring you chicken? He said no. I did. I was like, why wouldn't you just take it anyway? Like if nothing else, throw it. Like
I'm not gonna lie, every trip I take, I put chicken in the cooler.
You might as well.
If you're struggling, you're struggling. You know what I mean?
I mean, you might as well keep throwing it out. He tried eel though. You know how everybody's like, eel's the best bait there is. You know?
It's the worst bait I've ever thrown.
It doesn't work in certain waters, and he went ahead and tried it. You know, I did say, everybody says eel's working real well, and
thank you. Thanks,
you.
Jeremy.
I work really hard on that, and
But,
he's killing it on the lives. He's really.
But yeah, the
coming
eel,
out.
like I'm like, all right. So the only place I could find it was in Ohio, right? And I found it up there in that tournament. So I'm trying it all tournament weekend. I try it. I'm like, man, this is not working. So finally, we just put it in the live well, and we're like, I'll try it whenever I go home. Maybe I can get on them whenever I go home. So I keep them alive, and for like 4 days, like I'm keeping these eel alive. And about the 4th day, I went and I fished, and I did not catch a fish on them. And I'm like, you know what? I'm over this. Like, I'm done trying it. Like, they won't bite it.
Wyatt wants to know what filter you use that makes you so pretty.
Oh, get out of here.
Somebody asked him, like, dude, are you too much, or he said too much filter.
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
I'm like, he doesn't have a filter on.
That's what you guys must have been lagging at the beginning of this broadcast when I told everybody we had started a little late. I said we were taking so long because Charlie was trying to pick what filter he was going to use.
Yes. And then I think someone asked if he
that's
was
not
doing a
cool.
makeup tutorial. Jeremy, thank you. I really appreciate it. It's been
I
a
think
lot
you
of
should do a
fun.
makeup tutorial, Charlie. I really do.
No.
He's so good at it.
No, I'm good.
Makeup and beard care with Charlie Weatherspoon. It's got a
That's
ring
right.
to it.
Yeah, I'm good. I need to figure out a way to get this gray out here.
They're highlights, don't lie.
Those are highlights.
Yeah, he puts highlights in.
Get out of here. You're gonna
And this kind of touches on what you were talking about with eel works on certain waters.
Yeah.
Eel
And that-
works in the Chesapeake
Yeah.
Bay. Eel works for the guys on TikTok that are
And
fishing
the Potomac. The Potomac, you can
River,
tear
you
them
know?
up. Yeah, but just not.
It works
the
in
Ohio River
saltwater.
we fish, you can't.
does not work in the Ohio River.
Yeah, and that's like up to where is that? The James or Potomac? Like they said that they won't hit skipjack. Like it's not
The
native
James.
to them.
I fished a national event there, and several of the guys from Alabama showed up with skipjack, and I'm like, y'all are crazy. In the James, you can use in the James you can use a gill net.
Right.
So you catch monster 18, 20-inch shad, and you catch 100 of them in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever fished the James.
Mm-mm.
I love it. I love the James River.
No.
One day we'll go there if we can get away from going to Louisiana. I'll take you there. But you can set a gill net for your bait. So you just find a shallow flat, and these shad are the biggest shad you've ever seen. They're 20 inches long. They look like they're as big as skipjack.
I've seen pictures of them shad there.
Yeah.
They're
So
Well, the shad
the
was massive.
so yeah, the people pulling skipjack out there. I mean, if you weren't fishing, if you go to the James, I took shad from here on my very first trip, couldn't get a bite. If you go to the James and you're not using the shad from the James, you're severely at a disadvantage.
Salty shad.
Yeah. That's what it is. They got to be
They gotta
salty.
be seasoned.
Yeah, they're picky catfish out there.
That's right.
But I honestly believe that water, they smell different. Something happens because I took shad from
Mhm.
here. They were fresh. We never froze them. Couldn't get a bite. Went and bought a gill net that night. Put it out the next morning. Used those shad and caught my previous PB on the very first night. And we couldn't get a bite before we were there for 2 days.
That's awesome.
So Austin says, "Let's go, brother and son's in here." He's also a TikTok creator.
Yes, I do
following
know
him.
Austin. How are you?
I started following him last week. I'm afraid all these people from TikTok, some of them I don't know, but everyone knows you guys. Everyone.
Yeah, we can't see any of the comments. I don't know if we're doing this right, but yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how you see them on your phone. I can see them on the computer,
Yeah.
but I'm highlighting
we
them.
turned everything off onto Wi-Fi because sometimes where it's our lag, even though we have Starlink, it shouldn't lag at all at that price. But
Right.
I just turned everything off, so I'm not even watching like with a device, which I wanted to, but that's okay.
Nathan said he got his butt handed to him on the James by taking Ohio River shad a few weeks ago. That's what happens. I mean, if you're not using the shad from the James, you're at a severe disadvantage. So Nathan, if you ever go back, man, and you want to stop and grab my gill net, you're more than welcome to use it.
Yeah.
Man, that's
Wyatt says, "Have a good night."
Yep. Wyatt, we'll see you. Have a good night, bud.
See ya.
We won't be live. My boat is not getting fixed this week. Like
Oh, that's Anthony.
it won't get fixed until Wednesday. Day before we're about to leave.
Oh, that's
Thanks,
terrible.
Austin.
Well, I done told him. I said if it's not fixed by Wednesday, I said you're gonna have one very, very angry bearded man come in there.
You could take Dad's boat or your
Yeah.
dad.
Well, I mean,
My dad-
I got a tracker. It's gonna be a little tight for all of us, but we'll make it work.
There you go.
Well,
Just squeeze
yeah.
in.
Which I got another boat sitting out here that I can take.
And my
of dad's,
dad.
and then I got a sea art.
ProCat 240 my dad has
Yeah,
that he actually
his,
bought
so.
to allow him to use so that we didn't buy another boat better than our old one. And he let him take that sucker to all the tournaments and stuff. He's like, I want my own boat. So
What a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, come on.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, Julie, just tell him to take my boat because he barely goes fishing. I don't know if he's in here or not, but.
Is Daniel going with you to Louisiana?
Yeah. He's going with me.
Daniel, take your bucket for photo ops.
Yeah, I can take him with me, and they'll have that boat ready in no time. So, if anybody's ever seen the live, like, so the first time Daniel ever went with me,
you weren't
live. We just took pictures.
Yeah,
we didn't go live. We took pictures, and Julie's like, "Is he standing on a bucket?" This guy's like 7 foot tall. I mean, he's
oh
like
my goodness.
He like towers over me. Like I look like a little kid.
He is so awesome. And he was one of the very early on, like, he's like, oh, is that you guys over there? Because he's from here too. We never knew him, beforehand because we're not from this area. So he was out catching catfish on the bank and catching bait. Yeah. And he's like, is that you guys out in the middle of the river and on the live? I was like, yeah, that's us and whatever. So that's how we met him. And, I've talked about it in the stories. Like, I don't know. We got to see if we can catch bait before we decide if we go live tomorrow, that kind of stuff. And he reached out, like, if you guys need bait, if I'm off work, I can catch some. It's just we've met so many awesome people. And I'm just so thankful that Prolific Fishing is the name. King, he's the one who told me to go to TikTok, and I just am so grateful that he encouraged me to do that because he's like, there's a lot of people over there that do catfishing because we have met the best, just most supportive and kind people through it.
Yeah,
I'm the same way. I mean,
Sergeant Riggs, which Billy, he is a guy that I met on TikTok, and I actually got to take him and his daughter out, and man, you want to talk about an outstanding guy. And his daughter was the most well-mannered
6 years old
little girl I've ever met in my life. And like whenever I got off the boat, like I immediately called Julie and I was like, Julie, I met like
that was the trip of the year for him.
Yeah, like it was
That's
like
awesome.
Heartwarming, like how awesome and well-mannered she was, and
how much
like the big fish that we hooked. Like her dad's like, here, you want to reel this one in? It's a big one. She said, no, Dad, you can reel that one in. Like the sweetest little girl I've ever met. And that right there,
awesome.
And like trips like that right there makes me want to guide even more because, just to be able to meet somebody like that.
It was a cold day in like October or November. Like they're in snowsuits and she's just totally content.
Oh, but she's just plumb ate up with fishing. Like it's just heartwarming.
Yeah, we're twinsies now. She got a run and gun hat at the expo we were at.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Like the social media thing, if you'd have talked to me whenever we first started this, I first started guiding, I'd have told you it was crazy if you'd see me on social media as much as you do.
He said, Julie, I'm not here for entertaining people. I'm here for the fishing. I don't care about that. I was like, I know.
Like the people I meet, the people that I've met, we met you through TikTok and all this, and it's there's a lot more good people out there than bad.
Lots of blessings.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. I've met some solid people through TikTok. I mean, Chris, my boat partner, he found me on TikTok. That's how he heard about me, and not just him, Justin Fricky, Steve Burian, all these guys came about because of social media. And it shows that, in a world that is being destroyed by social media, I truly believe that. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, it has taken away the personal aspect to everything. Nobody picks up the phone to call you and talk stuff anymore. If they want to say something about you, they go online and do it, and they flex their finger muscles. So I really think social media as a whole it is ruining society. It's killing communication skills, but in the fishing industry and the fishing community, especially catfishing, social media is a gift for guys.
It's a tool. It is a tool.
Because so many people in the world that probably never dreamed that they would catfish have watched it and been like, you know what?
I'm gonna try that.
That looks awesome. It looks fun because it is fun. I mean, it's amazing. It's something that you can get out there whenever you hear songs about, like you don't have to sit in church to be close to God and stuff like that. And I'm not saying not go to church by no means, but I'm saying like whenever I'm out there by myself, like I don't think I could be any closer to God than what I am at that moment. You know, and
Right.
the conversations that we have, you know, is just, it's awesome. You know, I mean, it's just an awesome sport, and to see the kindness and the people out there, you know, it just makes it even that much better. So.
Yeah, and you know, you touched on that, and I touched on this last night. We were going to do this, and we couldn't because I forgot we had a small group. And at the small group, I touched on this. You know, there's at the low points in my life, there are no place that God has revealed Himself more to me than in the middle of the night on a catfishing boat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's truly somewhere that you can go and find the comfort of God. And the one place for me where He can wrap His arms around me and tell me everything's going to be all right on a bad day. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and bless you with 118 pounder.
Well, listen, bud, I'm going to pray that He does the same for you. How about that? And when you catch him, I want him to weigh 118.
You know what?
06.
I'm gonna pray you beat it again whenever we go back down there. That would be awesome.
As long as whoever does it yells loud enough that I hear you or you hear me, so I can come over and see it. That's all I care about.
Oh yeah. Well, if I catch one that big, I'm gonna tell you, Julie's gonna wake up and be like, oh man, he just got a big one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Julie's phone's gonna be going off the hook.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
Everybody's gonna be calling.
But yeah, that's what I told Julie. I said, you know what would tickle me to death is if we went back down there and you caught another state record and actually got to put it where it needs to be. You know, I said that would be
it would be insane.
Awesome.
And the good news is with you tagging along, I guess I'd have a live well we keep it alive in because
right.
That was what I was scared about. My live well's not big enough. You got what, 150-gallon live well in your boat?
I think 90.
Yeah, we got a 90-gallon live well, and we've had over 118 pounds in there, and we've kept it real lively.
Yeah, and I would have probably been able to keep him alive in my live well, but you best believe, I mean, we're taking a stock tank with us this time. If I catch him again, we're gonna hold him until they can weigh him.
Well, you ain't got to bring that because I'll be there, and we'll definitely keep him alive.
Like, we'll take turns swimming in the river with him, make sure he stays alive.
Yeah, all you got to do is like, hey, Charlie, I need you. And
I need you over here.
Bring me that live well.
Yeah, I'll be right there. I'll be throwing my little 50-pound dinks out.
No, I mean, of course, I truly believe if it could happen two places like that, it's going to happen to Micah Burkhart, and it can happen in Louisiana. You know, those are the only two places in the world I think it could happen. Like they said, I'm 7 foot tall. I'll stand in the water with it. So Chris and I, unbelievably, because we're planning on it, and we probably shouldn't be, but Chris and I have a full, extensive plan on what happens if that ever happens again.
There you go.
Exactly.
You gotta be prepared.
Never thought I'd have to plan for that, but here we are making plans that are crazy to most people. Miss Paula Hood made it in here. Paula is let me tell you about Paula real fast. Paula and her partner Pam, they fish my trail. And they're probably my favorite fishermen out of anybody I've ever met, fisherwomen out of anybody I've ever met. Paula lives in West Virginia on the Canal River. She drives all over the state of Ohio to fish with us. I'm talking if we're in Northwest Ohio and it's a 7-hour drive for her, she's making the drive to meet Pam up there, and they're going to fish the tournament. It is one of the neatest things I've ever seen. Now, I chase tournaments all around the country as you do, Charlie, so we get it. We understand the 8-hour drive.
Right.
You will never meet two people, let alone two women, that are more dedicated to tournament fishing than Miss Paula and Aunt Pam. That's what we call her, Aunt Pam.
That's awesome.
So it is unbelievable. It's an inspiration is what it is. So
Paula,
I really hope this year they are able to come in and break their PBs and win a couple tournaments.
That's awesome. When's she going to Louisiana with you?
I invited her and Pam to Louisiana. Pam said she can't get the time off. Paula can't get the time off. But second they're ready, I'll tell you what, they call me on a Wednesday and say we want to go to Louisiana. I'll tell them fly and meet me down there, and I'll be on my way. I took Pam out to a local lake here. Her and her nephew, I took them out. And it may be one of the funnest fishing trips I've ever been on. It was so fun to watch her. I was teaching her how to drag. They'd never drug before. Right. And watch how excited she got every time that board took off. I take that for granted, but it is cool. Like it is like I remember when I first started planter board fishing, I was beside myself to watch that board take off.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And I take it for granted now, but man, every time that board would go, it'd hit a stick under the water. You'd go like, yeah, she'd be up and grabbing the pole. I'm like, hold on.
Yeah. Well, that's like we need to get you down here and get you bumping.
I would like to catch a fish bumping. Never tried it. Chris wants to do it too. Chris did some bumping at the falls last year. All of Julie's fans.
Yeah, and that's like that's like
watching right now. Amber, what's up, girl?
So that's there's another guy around this area, hooked on catfishing, Terry Rogers. That is a phenomenal captain. I mean, catches big fish all the time, and he does all bumping trips too.
Really?
So yeah.
Well, I might take you up. I might
hooked on catfishing.
Yeah,
that was nice of you.
Yeah.
I might take you up on a trip to come. I'll pay you to take me out bumping. Show me how to do it. I might take you up on that.
All right. We'll trade. You teach me how to catch 118, and I'll teach you how to bump.
So what you got to do is put your poles in the water and pray like hell. Because that's what I did.
Yeah,
Josh, what's up, buddy? Josh runs a local tournament trail here. This guy, I think his best numbers was like 540 boats or 540 fishermen in his biggest tournament. So he's jumped on with me. Yeah, he's jumped on with me on the trail this year to help promote. We actually have one tournament going to his lake. So I'm super excited about that. Richard said, once you start bumping, you'll be hooked for life.
It's fun. Yep. I broke nothing but PBs in 2023 because I'd never really gone fishing with him. We did in the beginning when it was very slow. He was learning the waterways when we first moved here, and it was just hot and miserable. The kids were little. So I quit going for a long time. Last year I met him, 2022, I met him out. So I caught like a 13-pounder. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was so cool, whatever. And then that was kind of the end of that. So when I started this year, 33, I won big fish at a tournament. Was that on the Cumberland River?
Yeah, that was Micah.
It was only Micah was there too. It was Brian Ladd. Didn't he put it on?
Yeah, I think so. Nah, it was a benefit.
It was a benefit tournament. So it was 33 pounds, and it was my new PB ever, and that was beyond 13 pounds, and so we were bumping, and I caught a 38. So I, broke that PB on my own. I was so excited. Like, I did that by myself. The rod holder didn't do it. You didn't do it. Like, I bumped. And then he ended up hooking up to one. He's like, Julie, take this one. It's your new PB. So it was 55, and then later I've caught 60s and all that since then. But it was so cool to be able to, experience that all this year with him.
That's awesome.
Bumping experience.
Yeah, well, the only thing I'm going to say that with Daniel is you can take a horse to water. You just can't make him drink.
It is a learning curve in the beginning.
So he's got the concept down, but the hookup.
Oh, because you want to jerk it. You can't jerk it.
I don't know. He just got bad luck.
Can you explain bumping? What is bumping?
So bumping is whenever you're in, you got to have current to bump. And some people can sit still, they spot lock and bump back behind the boat. Well, we let the boat go with the current, but we take the trolling motor and we knock the current down. Some people say half. I don't really go half. I just go by the feel, what it feels like. If I'm letting too much line out, I'll speed the boat up, slow it down if I'm not letting no line out. So it's the most natural way to present your bait to the catfish. Like what you're showing them and what you're putting in front of them is what they see, is how they eat food coming out of the dams and the locks and down through the current.
So your sinker in your bait, it hits the bottom. You leave your bail open. You lift the bait off. You lift everything up, and you let that current walk it back. So that's what he means by it makes that natural presentation. And so you let a little bit of line out. But the most important thing, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but is don't lose the bottom. If you think you're not feeling that sinker, reel it back up because you will snag. You'll lose your rig, and you're gonna have to start over again. That was the biggest thing. And then the other thing that was hard for me is I come from the history of pond fishing. You set the hook. Well, you want to do that because it's in your hand and you can pull that bait and hook out so much that you'll lose the fish. So resisting that urge to pull. So that's another kind of a harder thing for me to do. That was awesome. Yeah, Mike is incredible.
Oh yeah.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Walking that
Like
big
I said, I haven't got to
natural
experience it. I did a little bit of walking baits under barges one time. Got really bored with it really fast. Went back to anchor fishing.
Oh yeah.
Tosh
Yeah,
said
you
at one
won't-
time they used to pull 1,200 fishermen at his tournament.
Holy cow, that's crazy.
It is the annual
That
Indian
is
Lake Catfish Tournament, and it is a big deal around here. I've heard about it for years and years and years. I've personally never fished it, but I got to meet Tosh personally a couple weeks ago. Like I said, we're collabing on an event. And what's crazy is I think the event there at Indian Lake, which is a really big flathead lake here in Ohio, I think the event there is going to surpass the boat numbers of Gallipolis, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
So I think at 200 boats, if we launch 200 boats on the Ohio River in April, I believe that's the biggest tournament to launch on the Ohio River. If I'm right, I think that's the most boats to launch in Ohio on the Ohio River, and I think I think not even a month later we'll beat it. 2 months later we'll beat it at Indian Lake.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
29 years. That's a long
All
time.
right, Daniel, that sounds cool, man. And Tosh, absolutely, man. I've really enjoyed meeting you, bouncing ideas off you as a new tournament director. You've been so helpful. Well, guys, we're at the hour and 30-minute mark, which is usually where we cut these things off. It has been incredible talking to you guys. I don't really fanboy over anyone on TikTok, but I think I'm starting to be a fanboy here.
Aw.
I don't know about that.
Joining the fam.
Yeah.
I do. I don't really watch a whole lot of TikTok. I get on there, I go live, and I share. Obviously, I watch a little bit for people that watch me, but I don't know. The last 2 days, I've spent hours and hours and hours. Well, I'm running an excavator this week, digging out for drainage. So I'll dig the hole, and while the guys are doing the piping, I'm watching you guys on TikTok.
Well,
I'm like,
thank you.
Well, that's awesome.
I'm not gonna lie. Part of it's like that spot looks familiar. I'm gonna remember where they were fishing there.
But we get that a lot.
Yep.
So it's been a lot of fun. Watch the video of the 2 times Tennessee record. He sets the hook on circle hooks. Micah Burkhart sets the hook on circle hooks. Anytime I've tried that, I rip the hook out of their mouth.
Actually, I did. But yeah, it's been
spicy around
get
the
out of
world.
here.
Smell the rose.
So it's been awesome. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and I can't wait to meet you in person. You know, whenever we get down there and be able to fish together and sit around in the evening or the morning and talk about what we caught. So
yeah, no, I'm
looking
excited
forward to
for it. It's gonna be a good time, I think. Anytime two, I don't consider myself a good catfisherman. I consider myself decent. So anytime 2 decent catfishermen can get together and bounce ideas off each other, it usually turns out pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm getting excited for it.
Mhm. He's working.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Thank you for all you do. We're both new, and I'll gladly help. I'm going to rewatch this. Tasha was a good one. You know, these guys here, I can tell just by what I've seen that Charlie is as passionate about catfishing as you and I. It's watching your guys' video. It's pretty cool to see how excited you guys get when you're on the boat together. My wife fishes with me sometimes, but she's not. I about killed her on Lake Erie, so she's
A little leery.
she's a little eerie to go back on the boat. We fished a tournament up there, and a storm blew in. And I don't know if you know about. I mean, you're from Ohio. You got to know about the waves on Lake Erie.
Oh yeah.
Your 4-foot rollers on Wheeler were about 7-foot rollers in the middle of Lake Erie that day, and we were in the bay.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So the TikTok handles, my TikTok handle is Ohio River Catfishing. Theirs is run the letter N gun catfishing, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You guys, there's enough information between both channels that we can turn anybody into a decent cast fisherman, I would imagine. Feel free. As always, my TikTok is all about education and helping the fellow angler. They're doing the exact same thing. They have a lot more catch. They have a lot more catch videos, and what I like most about their videos, they got a lot more takedown videos. I suck at recording those, but these guys here, if you're looking for a solid day full of the best takedowns you'll see, head on over to Running Gun Catfishing because they're there.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
A lot of times,
if not, I get grounded.
He does. I'm like, Charlie, did you take video? How can I do content without video?
But yeah,
there's the other half of Paula Hood right there, Aunt Pam. She made it in here.
Aunt Pam.
Awesome.
So everybody's Aunt Pam. The catfishing community has an Aunt Pam. I'll tell you, it doesn't matter if you know her, if you never met her. She'd treat you like you were her niece, nephew, whatever, no matter when she meets you. Awesome ladies, her and Paula. Paula, I saw that you're stuck in Kentucky in the snow. I'm gonna say some prayers for you. I hope you can get out of there.
Yeah, be careful.
Jeremy tells everybody to watch your YouTube. I'm guessing your YouTube is Running Gun Catfishing as well.
Yeah. Running Gun Catfishing as well, and Redemption Part 1 and Part 2. And I even shared the one where he had 3 break-offs, and then before the break-offs, he had this massive tangle. I shared the whole video. I was like, "Do you want me to post this?" And he said, "Julie, it's part of fishing. I don't care to share it all." And I was like, "Okay." So we have that first one, and it is a series of 3 days in a row. So the 3 break-offs, Redemption Part 1 and Redemption Part 2, because he actually had a double up before my break-off. That happened, that triple digit. That's what he calls it. I don't know, but he had a really nice double up, and then later into the night with a 58. So, I think it was like a 40. I don't know. We do weigh-in videos usually. It's all in there. So. Hey,
I am stealing one idea from you guys.
What's that?
I will tear my scale out and then set the fish down.
It's genius.
What a great idea.
Why kill yourself?
Yeah.
What a great idea.
Whenever I first started it, I'm like, and I tried to get it to lock out, and I'm like, man, this ain't working. So I was like, well, you jackwagon, all you gotta do is hit the tear and it's gonna show you what the fish is, So I was like,
what a great idea. So for those of you that's wondering, they have a video on TikTok where they teach you how they use their scale. All of us struggle to hold the fish up, can't breathe, trying to read the numbers, shaking like a leaf.
Yes.
All you gotta do is hold the fish up, and if it's too big, have your partner hit tear and then set the fish back down, and whatever the negative number is, that's what they weigh
on the positive side.
Right.
Yeah,
so
I'm glad he came
what
up
a
with
genius idea. So I can't.
when
I use that, when I'm in Louisiana and I'm using that on my live, I cannot take credit for that. That came from these guys.
Yeah, I was glad he came up with it because just a little bit of wiggle and it will not lock out, even if it's a small fish.
Hey, guess who's the one holding the fish up all the time? Me. It makes it easy on me.
Well, let me tell you. Maybe you got. What do you do if it breaks the scale? What if the scale says overloaded?
We call it DNR.
Yeah,
we do too. They just don't answer.
Yeah, we just have that Whisker Seeker 110. So if it's over 110, you got to get the boys out.
That's what mine were. Mine were 110.
Yeah,
that's what ours is.
In that video, Chris was like, "These are only 110 pounds," and we were joking about it. And we lifted up on the first time, and it was like beep beep beep. And I'm like, "What's that sound?" I look at it. I said, "Dude, it says overloaded." He's like, "What?" I said, "It says overloaded." And he's like, "No, that can't be. Let's try it again." And the thing is it said overloaded, and the fish wasn't even off the floor of the boat yet.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, wait a minute.
You got a good deal.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, we just broke state record. Like, we got to call it DNR.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's
so if you overload your scale, I don't think the tear button's gonna work.
Yeah, no, it won't work.
No helping.
But
that.
while we're on here, before we wrap it up,
ran out of hours.
Before we wrap it up, I just want to tell you how much respect you got from me as a fisherman. I mean, to do what you did and not worry about a piece of paper, like, you have all the respect in the world from me. So my hat's off to you on that note. So
I don't know if most people would do that.
All of us trophy fishermen, I know, I just got the chance to be able to tell you, like, hey, our hat's off to you, and you got all the respect from us. So,
well, I appreciate that. It wasn't in the moment. It was a gut wrenching feeling. Like it sucked, but it wasn't a hard decision.
Yeah, and tough as freaking rods. Good, kudos to him for.
And my hat's off to him for doing what he's doing for you. So that's awesome.
Totally respect him.
As should be done. Which, I mean, and for a guy that's going to go ahead and do it, it just shows what kind of trophy fisherman he is too. So.
Right. Well, and he's actually broke the Alabama state record. I think he said twice, and same thing. He couldn't get anybody out, so he put it back. And this was before he was on TikTok live. So he's like, dude, I know the feeling you're feeling. He said, the difference between me and you is you did it in front of 1,400 people.
Yeah.
And you had certified scales. He said, so there is no question. No one is going to question. No one is going to question whether you broke the state record or not.
Yeah, Tosh, I agree.
Yeah, Tosh, I agree with you.
Well, I appreciate all the kind words.
There's a lot that would do it too, but who's to say? So kudos.
You don't know if you'll do it or not until you're in that situation.
That's
Yeah.
right.
But any trophy catfisherman would do the same thing you would do if they're truly a trophy catfisherman.
Then last week I got accused of not caring about catfish conservation by a local guy here who's got it out for me for whatever reason. And he said it's because I hold 100 tournaments. And I'm like, well, one, I hold 20 tournaments. I hold 20 tournaments on 20 different bodies of water spread out from anybody else who holds a tournament on those waters. And he sponsors tournaments that hold 10, 12, 15 tournaments on the same body of water and then questions my conservation. Like, come on, man. So I thought for sure I proved that I'm all about catfish conservation when I put the Louisiana state record back in the water without even thinking about it. But the one thing that I've learned is you're always going to have people who are jealous. You're always going to have people who are mad at the world.
You can't make everybody happy.
All we can do is pray for them people, pray that one day God comes into their life and gives them the life that they've given me, the life they've given you, he's given you guys, to where they won't be full of hate and jealousy. And that's what I preach to my kids. That's what I preach to my wife. You can't make everybody happy. There's always envy. There's always jealousy. The Bible talks against it. Probably 500 times, doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So your guys' words are definitely appreciated. The people in chat, your guys' words are definitely appreciated. I didn't put that fish back for notoriety. I didn't keep the fish for notoriety. That was never the intention at all. I was happy to be able to share that moment with 1,400 people that don't know me from Adam, But what was cool that night, and what a lot of people didn't see, was my grandma was in there watching. My mom and dad were in there watching. My brothers were in there watching. My wife, her entire family. There was people that I haven't talked to in years sending me text messages like, man, we saw you catch that fish. So if nothing else, it was used as a great opportunity as I was thanking the Lord for the opportunity to catch the fish. That 1,400 people saw me thanking the Lord. And I believe that's what that whole situation was about. That wasn't about Corey catching a fish. It wasn't about Corey and Chris catching a fish. It was how I would use that opportunity to glorify God.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And the sport.
Right. So it was awesome. We had a great time. I'm looking forward to next week. I mean, especially because I know Charlie's showing up with bait, so I won't have to struggle.
I'm just saying, anybody in here that's going to Louisiana, that's riding on the run and gun boat, I need video and pictures. Thank you. I'm gonna put surveillance on that boat.
I'll tell you what we do. We'll just sit right beside him, and I'll have Chris filming him the whole time.
There you go. That's all I ask.
So it was awesome having you guys on here. I need to get back to doing this podcast weekly. I got away from it for a while because I got busy, but I know that there's people that really enjoy watching this. The same people. I see a lot of these names. They come in and out. They've seen every show. So we're going to try to get back into doing this more frequently now that everything's kind of slowing down. But it was awesome having you guys. I'm super happy to hear that your guide service is being successful. As I said, I hate to admit it, but I didn't even know you guys existed until 2 weeks ago. But for the last 2 weeks,
that's okay. We're little bitty fish in a big pond, and we're just trying to get our little brand out there and represent ourselves, our true, authentic selves, and just hope that people enjoy watching and just kind of supporting us. And it's been really going well for us.
Well, good. You guys keep riding that wave, and I think you'll surpass me in followers in no time. You guys do a lot more fishing than I do, and I believe you're a lot more personable than I am. I mean, when I watch your guys live, I don't watch a whole lot of live fishing. I can't get into it, but for whatever reason, I can sit there and watch you guys all day. I watched you on the whole trip home from Louisiana. So,
I appreciate it.
Did you guys want to take any time to shout out any sponsors or talk about your guide service?
Well, thanks to Dirty South Dragon Weights. We're pro staff with Dirty South, and Fat Fish Designs. We've been working with him the second kind of half of last year, and Catch the Fever for allowing us to be affiliates with them.
And then Ohio, because there's a lot of monster catfishing.
Yeah, Monster Cat Catfishing in Ohio.
He was the first one to reach out to us. So yeah.
Kevin Walters.
Yeah.
He's Kevin is an awesome guy. He jumped on board and sponsored our trail this year, and he's actually going to have a booth set up at our big event in April.
man, he's just a great guy.
Yeah, he's been really
Yeah,
nice.
he's awesome.
Yeah, and SmackDown Rod Holders, we're not sponsored or anything, but they allowed us to set up at their booth last weekend, so that was really fun getting to know Peter and, you know, chatting with him all weekend.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And
Well, good. No,
Yeah.
I've met Peter. Peter's a great guy. I was on their team for a while. We had a falling out over some. It's not even worth talking about, but Peter's a great guy. I like Peter a lot. He did a lot for me when I was on his team. So I got not one bad word to say about Peter. Really awesome guy, and he's truly in it for the right reasons.
Yeah. But yeah, we work with the companies. We don't have any actual sponsors though. Sponsored by TNT Concrete, and I'm a nurse. Trying to pay the bills. And all that gift me.
Yeah, that's like, like I had some people ask if they can bring their rods, out with them because they got a new, just say Mad Cat rod or
toughest freaking rod, big game from Walmart, whatever.
I'm fine with it as long as I know the line will hold what is going to be on the end of it. Yeah, I'm fine with it. So, yeah, we're not tied down to nobody. So,
well,
no
I am tied down to a couple of people, but I'm tied down to the right people. The people people that I got in bed with, their views align with mine, their goals align with mine, and that's the reason that I'm there. It's everybody has a different view on sponsored catfishermen.
Yeah.
I don't do it for the notoriety. That's not what I do it for. I do it because I believe in their products. I believe in what I'm using. And that's
it. We talk about brands because we've used them. I say we, but I mean he's used them. He's put them through the ringer. He's put them, to the test. Is what he truly loves to use. And, the one thing that we really enjoy doing is trying new products. So we are going to be working with other companies to see how well their product works. And if we like it, we'll just share it and stuff like that. But as far as because sponsored posts and stuff, we don't.
Yeah, the stuff that we just named out is stuff that I've used for years, and I put to the ringer. It's just stuff that I can. That if I tell you, hey, this is what I got, that's because I put it to the ringer. And that's like me. I'm looking for hooks, and I can't just go to a random hook and be like, all right, well, I'm gonna tie this on a rig. No, I gotta physically take it out there, put it to the ringer, make sure it's gonna do what my expectations want it to do, before I can say, hey, somebody
this is what you need to get. Yeah. And he's had luck with Minotaur. We tried Minotaurs, and they're 12-aught and 14-aught. He really liked those two. Whisker Seeker triple threat hooks is his real go-to. So, but yeah, he's always down to try new products and just see, because things are always evolving. Evolving, and so that's kind of the blessing too in disguise is, we have the freedom to try and, product test and things like that. So we enjoy.
Did you get a chance to talk to Steve, my hook guy?
He never called me.
Yeah, he said he was going to give you a call. He's crazy busy. I'm sure he'll give you a call.
Probably. Yeah, we understand that.
This is show season. Everybody's got to get products ready.
That's what he's doing. He's in shows all over the place. So
that's understandable.
Those hooks, the Maruto hooks by Angler Innovations. I mean, I'll tell you, I have yet to find a scenario where they failed me. And I mean, when I was keeping track of fish, the last year I kept track of fish, we caught 361 flatheads, 48 blue cats, and I never had a dull hook. My hookup ratio actually went through the roof when I started using them. I went from the Team Catfish hooks to those, and my hookup ratio went from 60, 70% to well over 90. So those are Richard uses them too. Those are the hooks that I use, the Maruto hooks from Angler Innovations. They're a phenomenal hook.
He has showed me some of them.
Yeah, I actually just got a mail call from them today. Wasn't expecting it either. Come out of nowhere. You asked me about if they had 12-aught hooks, and I told you that their 10s are huge. I'll show you the difference in their 8s and their 10s real fast. 300 hooks here on the desk. That's why I need them for Louisiana. So, I know you can't really tell sizes, but that's the difference in an 8 and a 10 Maruto.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's so hard when it's not mirrored.
Oh yeah, okay.
So they're the 10s. Their 10s are definitely 12s or better.
They look big, cheap, thick.
See, that's what I told you. That's what I told you on the phone.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, good deal.
Oh, look at that. It's almost like we summoned you.
There he
Hey,
is.
we were just talking about you.
We were all talking about you.
There he
And I
is.
was talking about how you sponsored the trail. They were talking about how you helped them out. And then
Then here he is.
as Kevin, as you and I talked about on the phone, which I thought was awesome. Awesome of you to do, and really shows the kind of man you are. Where's it at? Mr. Rose had nice things to say about you too.
Yeah.
That's all.
So, yeah, if there's ever a guy out there that cares more about catfishing and the catfish industry and stuff like that, Kevin, he truly cares about the catfish world.
Absolutely. Monster Cat Catfishing has earned my business for the rest of my life. The man's, he's selfishly a firefighter, been a firefighter his whole life. He has spent an entire life serving other people and jumped into the catfish scene to do the exact same thing. So kudos to you, Kevin. I mean,
welcome home, Kevin.
it is awesome to see guys like you so willing and able to support us and support fishermen like me and Charlie. And then I heard about what you did for Roger. You delivered him some rods after his were stolen. There's just not many guys out there like you anymore. So kudos to you, sir. We appreciate you. But I'm getting the look from my wife, so I'm guessing an hour and 50 is just a little too long. But guys, I really enjoyed this talk tonight. I'm looking forward to meeting you next week when we go to Louisiana.
Me too. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Come on here and talk to everybody. So.
Absolutely. Get ready for more people to ask because you guys did a great job. So I'd imagine there's going to be more people that want to talk to you.
Oh, goodness. Awesome. Well, thank you, Corey.
Well, thank you.
Julie, maybe we'll meet on the next trip. If not, I'm sure we will. I'm sure I'll see you at CatCon.
Yes, we'll definitely be there all weekend.
Yeah.
And don't forget your marker because Chris is going to want an autograph.
Oh, shit. I better go get me a silver Sharpie.
All right. Well, you guys have a good night.
You guys too. I appreciate you. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Once again, this is the Mid-Ohio Catfishing Podcast. I am your host, Corey Jeffers. I'm also the tournament director for the Mid-Ohio Catfishing Tournament Trail. We are having a huge event in April. April 6th, we're having a 200-boat event in Gallipolis. We have many sponsors on board, like Mr. Kevin Walters, and great fishermen from all around the country traveling hours to get here, like Mr. Charlie Weatherspoon. So we appreciate everybody's support in this event. We look forward to seeing you guys on the trail this year. But until then, we will see you guys on the water. Have a good night.
See y'all.
See you guys.
Good night.